All right. You want me to count you in?
Sure.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. If you were watching NASA 2016, you might have seen this same game run by Sup Nerds. He's the old boy runner of this game. It's pretty much the same run, I'd say, but just a lot of heavy optimization. Additional skips, big, small. So let's see, what is the point of this game? To get from Pluto to Sun, powering up your ship, getting through obstacles, about 180 levels of frenetic platforming fun. Platforming in quotations. Heavy quotations.
More like you're spending your time away from the more than actually using them.
Yeah. Because in this game, there are... Another terrible transition. I'll just talk about the movement in this game. That sounds like a good plan. It's a simple, pretty simple to control game. 3 buttons, if you count the joystick as a button. The whole object of the game is to pass through gates that turn to the color of the gates and pass through the gates that you can pass through. So, red, you can press A, flaps you upwards. And if you hold it, it turns you red also. Green, if you hold X, turns you X, and you can pass through green gates and also bounce off the yellow walls. Yellow walls, you can't do anything about that if you're either red or normal white. They'll just kill you instantly. But yeah, Pluto is done for.
So Pluto just basically is the beginning levels of the game. Just basically getting you into the flow of how the game is going to behave. So basically all you're going to encounter in Pluto is red gates and white gates. Coming up on Neptune, it introduces green gates. So the other thing that the game also fails to tell you too is that there's gravity. You're constantly being pulled down towards the bottom of the level. Even though you're in space, you're being pulled down.
Ooh, there we go. Death number 1. Yeah, this is a... If you haven't played this game, it controls like pretty much no other game you've ever played. I can't think of any really good comparisons. It's kind of like an experience. And it's not top-down, like if you were anybody out there who was wondering. It is.
I mean, if you have a different perspective, you could say this is top-down.
I mean, yeah. But let's just go with a side view. This game also has a jammin' soundtrack. If you like games with good soundtracks, then I would definitely recommend this one. You know, it might not be what you expect. Oh god. But it fits.
Got some pretty nice electronic beats. No. Other music genres.
It's like breakbeat, drum and bass stuff.
Trying to think of another word I can't remember.
I don't know, man. Can't help you there. But yeah, since this one, this Neptune is solely based, like, heavily based around the green gates, there's a lot of opportunity for, there's a lot more bouncing strats, so kind of generally they involve trying to get a good setup and then like holding X basically throughout the entire level or throughout half and then half. which it's mostly consistent, you know. This game isn't really, there's nothing really random in this game, but
Yeah, this game is pure skill. There's no RNG involved with this game at all. If you die in a level, anything that has a cycle will reset. So you actually have another chance of actually beating cycles, 2v1 cycles on levels.
it's not like Golf with Your Friends, my other main speed game. Just kidding. I haven't touched that in like 2 months.
But Uranus introduces pink gates. Pretty much behaves like yellow walls, but you can't touch them at all.
Ugh.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. This level is also kind of boring, but it's still kind of interesting sometimes.
I like to remind myself that this planet has 25 levels.
Yes.
It's the longest planet in the game. But in terms of movement in this game, holding the A button causes you to do your flap. You can move a tiny bit left and right, but not very much. While you're green, you can't move your character at all. It'll just continue in the arc that it was going when you press the X button.
Yeah. This is a momentum-based platformer. It's not so much precision. There's some precision elements, but like it's heavily based on my momentum. So you have to plan out everything you're doing and be able to react on the fly.
Also, in case it hasn't been very obvious, or Pepsi hasn't said it, your character is a spaceship.
True.
A
Part of the deep lore.
couple other movement things that you can do while with the A button when you're flapping. You can do a super flap with the control with the ship. You hold up on the control stick while you press A. The other one that you can do is an anti-flap, which doesn't actually move your ship upwards at all, but it'll still turn your red, and that is done by holding down on the control. With the super flap, it's double the acceleration going upward than doing a normal flap.
Yes, the anti-flap is like a really nice improvement on the original game's controls, because they were very limited to just the arrow keys, basically. Left, right, up is flap, down is tumble. And so now you have, if you're going down and you want to keep your speed and also pass through a red gate, you don't have to just completely stop your momentum, like, or cut it in half. It's really handy. Oh no. This is a skip. A small skip, one of the many small skips found in Saturn. Yes. Almost forgot. The auto-scroller planet. We learned the planets of our solar system by playing this game. I did not actually know the order before this. Like, I knew like 3 planets, and then that was about it.
Also, Pluto is a planet. Don't let scientists fool you.
That is true. It'll never leave my heart.
They're not really sure what they're talking about.
The backstory on that one is this game was in development on Kickstarter. There was a prototype version around 07, and Meshoff, the creator, started the Kickstarter to basically make a new upgraded version. That took about from like 2009 until like 2015. So it's in development for a while. You can really tell because the controls are really smooth and fluid. Like, there's a nice curve to this game. Like, most people you see on the reviews and stuff spend like 2 hours to 5 hours, maybe, and then give up. But once you get past like the 20-hour mark, it starts to get like really fun and enjoyable instead of blind rage and mild discomfort.
So yeah, we haven't even gotten to the part of the game where most people just end up quitting.
Yeah, there's a pretty huge drop off towards the end. I'll address that later though, in detail.
So each of these levels in Flywrench basically introduce a new mechanic for the game.
Ooh.
So, as you saw, Saturn was pinwheels. Jupiter, which is next, or it's going on right now. I'm unsure because I'm watching this on a delayed stream. Is gravity wells, as I would like to call it. And these areas are, you can definitely tell which ones are gravity. Increase the gravity by double.
It's a really awkward mechanic to get used to. Oh, here we go. There are very few glitches in this game. You may not even notice any of them in this run. There's only...
I hope to not.
Yeah. They're not usually too bad. There's two that are okay. One is surfing, is when you enter a gate parallel and you start sliding along with the gate. And you kind of stuck along the path, and sometimes you can, or most of the time you either end up dying or very off the path, and it's very slow and bad. Oh my god, there we go. There's sometimes you can, if a pinwheel is moving fast enough, you can just kind of go right through it. There's no consistent way to actually move done it. It's very random, so like it's not really useful. It could be useful in a couple levels, but until it's like actual strat is found, then it's not really worth it.
Kind of coincides with a couple of another glitch that you can do, which is, I mean, you can do it in this mode as well, but it's mainly done in helmet mode, which is the easier mode. This is normal mode, where you can actually clip through the yellow walls by pretty much spinning into a corner.
Yeah, I've somehow clipped out of bounds twice in normal mode. It's
Just somehow you can just do that, and it just happens.
you get like a huge burst of speed out of nowhere, and you kind of just go through a corner and you're on your merry way. It's not useful, but like it can happen.
And another one that we hope we don't see in this run is backwards bouncing,
Ooh, yes.
and that will happen randomly as well, just by bouncing while you're green, bouncing off of a yellow wall. It'll just bounce you straight backwards.
It's kind of funny because it bounces you exactly in the direction that you came in. It looks incredibly weird, and you generally end up dying because it sends you back at a pretty good, like, decent speed. So Mars, the shortest planet in the game. It's introduces the fun mechanic of turrets, and well, there's some surfing. They know where you are, where you just were, and where you're about to be. And they have no mercy.
Should have bowled every 2 seconds or so.
We should really time that out.
We should actually. There's a surf. That's how behind I am.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the turrets they're always tracking you no matter where you are in the level, and they will shoot a bullet at you, even if you're not near them. They'll just shoot a bullet at you.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
sometimes in some of these levels that you'll see later, Pepsi will have to bait the turrets, so they shoot a bullet in a different area where then he's in, so you can get around him. You'll really see this in Mercury.
I did an oopsie.
You menu wrong.
That's my one for the run. Yeah, I should probably. It's an interesting thing about this game. To beat the game, you have to unlock the last level of the game, I should say. You have to beat every previous level in the game. So you have to beat every level in the game to unlock the final level and then beat the game. But at certain number amounts of unbeaten planets or beaten levels, you can unlock the next planet, and mid-run they pop out throughout, and it always auto-defaults the cursor over continue to the next planet, so it takes you out to the select planet screen, which wastes about 5 seconds, and it's incredibly easy to do because you're just mashing this whole game pretty much between levels. Half this game is mashing to get to the next level, so it's like kind of instinct and you kind of just forget. But generally I usually don't forget those, but it happens to the best of us, I swear.
I think that's a hint at me, because I do that on almost every planet.
It was not. We're assuming way too many things right now. Also, I just got the perfect bounce. First try. I'm a little upset.
Those are great now.
It's a short setup. Yeah, there's 2 levels in the game where you have very limited control over the outcome if you want to go remotely fast. So you have to kind of hold X and tumble along with the level and hope and go through what developers wanted you to go through. And sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't usually work out in your favor.
Basically, speed tech in this game is bouncing off of a wall. That's it. And usually it's bouncing off a wall with reckless abandon.
Yeah.
To the point where the camera can't keep up with you for some reason.
Yeah, the IL strats in especially some of the more difficult levels are just ridiculous. Oh. Like, Pluto is incredibly optimized, and it's just, oh jeez, full of just tiny time saves that are all over the place. Annoying, but worth it, I guess.
I think Mercury is probably the least optimized right now.
Oh, for sure. There's so many things I want to add, but like, save 0.5 seconds to, but risk wasting 10. It's that's pretty much all of them. But yeah, Earth is done. That was it's an okay level. The mechanic it introduces, switches and switch gates, timed gates, is a really cool mechanic, but it's used pretty cool. It's not used in the most interesting way in Earth, but it gives you a good idea of what you can do.
You'll definitely see it in Mercury.
Oh yeah.
You'll definitely see it in Mercury.
And if you decide to pick up this game yourself and play some Kaiser levels on the workshop, they'll be your worst enemy. I probably should have said this earlier, but since this game is probably for sure not easy to follow if you have no idea what this game is. Any questions you have about this game, I am always willing to help, like, answer, like, either now or whenever. Like, message me on Twitch or Twitter, probably just Twitch, or Discord, and I will happily help with whatever you need, because the more people around this game, the better.
Got a pretty small community.
Yeah, currently we are 1/3 of the Flywrench running community. At NASA.
He's the second best. I am the worst. I just throw that out there. It really isn't when the bottom 3 times on the leaderboard for this game are like 10 seconds within each other.
Yeah. And those are like people who picked it up and like aren't like oh my god, making it like their main focus. Like the top 3 times, all of us have over 100 hours in this game, which most people only have 5 maybe max.
People usually play this game, and then when they beat it, it's pretty much satisfied. I'm good with this game.
Yeah, I have almost 200 hours in this game, and I'm not close to done.
Which reminds me, I really need to pick this game back up again.
Yeah, it's a good game, dude. Wow. That's a strat. Slam right in the wall.
So, in case it hasn't been obvious, Venus introduces moving lines, moving gates, and excuse me. That's the last game mechanic that this game actually introduces. Well, that's not true. The game introduces really hard levels as Mercury.
It's a best mechanic actually.
It's where butt clenching mode actually comes into play.
For sure. This from Venus to Mercury, there is a 33% completion rate to a 9.9% completion rate in global achievement stats. So it's kind of to say it's hard is an understatement. It took me 40 minutes game time, about an hour and a half to beat each of the 21 levels my first time playing this game. And like these levels aren't like long really, but like that's a lot of time to spend on that many levels. Right, here we go, big skip.
It's really intricate, these levels. Just a lot of time crunch parts of the levels that need to be done pretty quickly.
Yeah. By the way, I just got implant skip. No,
Ooh.
ski slope skip. That was a skip that was without that buffer. We didn't know about that buffer for a long time, so it was like the fabled like D skip. But
Nerds got it. Nerds got it first, and then
I got it once.
and then
Also,
you got it. Yeah, it was a while before you got it.
it was half
It
a
was,
year.
it was a while before anybody else got it.
I think we're the only two people who have done it unbuffered.
Yes. Yeah.
And basically all I did, I just kind of like clenched my arm as tight as I could and just mashed to my heart's content. Dang.
But I guess it hasn't been mentioned as well either. So for this game, we base it off of in-game time. There is an in-game timer for this game. We contemplated using real time at one point, just because of a bug with the timer.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it's
In IL. Just doing it with IL levels, where if you have a 0 as so, like say you finished a level with 1.9 seconds, the game will flip the 10th digit and the 100th digit for some reason, but it still reports it as 1.9 seconds. Although I haven't actually gone in and actually looked at that.
yeah, it's on the Sun leaderboards, I think. And but now it's like a
Yeah, we're getting
23.
We're getting weird times in the leaderboards.
It's been addressed in the forums and been avoided.
But we still opt in for in-game time for this game.
Yes. If you did happen to watch NASA 2016, this run by Sup Nerds, this is the skip that implant skip that he pretty much tried until he could get it. Whew, okay. It's nothing's really changed. It's still the hardest skip in the game. But I don't know why I said but. It's the hardest skip in the game. Still. There's nothing that we can really do to buffer it. It's just you have to do it.
I just noticed there's extra lines outside that level. Oh, Glitch City. There's extra yellow lines outside of Glitch City.
I need to check that. I think yeah, that was a dumb death. I think I saw it in my peripherals, but I kind of just ignored it. That was like a really dumb death. I'm very displeased.
So it's, as you can tell with the Mercury levels, it's really hard to do it deathless.
Yeah, I have personally never gotten a deathless Mercury. I think my max is 1 death.
I think Nerds is a max of 1 death.
He's gotten a before. It wasn't a low skips and strats. That bring the time down a lot. So it's it's getting down there. Ooh, look at this. Oh, come on. This is the final planet in the game, Sun. Not really a planet, but you know, it's a thought that counts.
So remember, kids, Pluto is a planet and Sun is a planet. The Sun is not a star.
You know, I think I'm not gonna say anything right now. I'll say it after I finish it.
Oh, yeah, with time going on.
Yes, time is as soon as I hit this gate at the end. And time. I think that's a PB. I think I am.
Really?
2550.
That might be a PB.
Oh! No. Oh.
No. Okay. I'm checking the leaderboards on this
It's
one.
1 second behind my PB.
Oh.
Oh shit.
God dear.
Oh yeah, you're using in-game time. I guess the 2550 doesn't
Yeah.
mean much.
That is, yeah, 1 second behind your PB.
It's a 25:34 in-game or real time is my PB. That is interesting.
Sub 12 is an amazing time, though.
That's the second I've ever gotten in my life, actually. And at 5 in the morning. What a time to be alive. Oh god. I'm a little upset. Only a little bit. Oh, okay. But yeah, that was Flywrench. Fast-paced, frenetic platformer, quotations. Again, any questions about the game? We're a small community, but we each know a good deal about the game. Personally, I will be happy at any time of the day, any time of the week, any time of the month, you know, answering questions, helping people out. But yeah, I recommend this game.